All right, everybody. First, I'd just like to welcome you to the first in our series of Community Lunch and Learn. I am very, very happy to see you all. Well, this is the second Lunch and Learn of community capacity building. And I'm very happy to see you all here today. I think this is our largest crowd since we started doing this. And so I really appreciate you all taking time out of your Saturday to come and talk with us, and meet with us, and eat with us. And we promise you that your time won't be wasted. We also have a couple guest speakers today. We have Pat DeLeon representing Cleveland Score, and she will talk about Cleveland Score, and we'll talk about a new partnership that the East Cleveland Growth Association has just established with Cleveland Score, and the types of services that are going to be available to entrepreneurs and budding businesses here in East Cleveland. And we also have Cynthia Lewis, who is the grants manager from Neighborhood Connections, and she's going to be talking about some of the programs that they have and some of the things that people in the community may be eligible for as well. So you'll hear from those ladies shortly. At the end of the session, we'll do a quick community survey, because I just want to see how we see our community, what we think about our community, and how we think about moving forward. So this is a series on community capacity building. And so the first thing we need to do is define capacity building, right? Community capacity, by definition, is the interaction of human, organizational, social capital existing within a given community that can be leveraged to solve collective problems and improve maintaining well-being of a given community. So what does all that say? Basically, it just says people come together, organize, and do it themselves.
Yep. Collaboration.
And that's what this whole thing is about, right? We want the residents of East Cleveland to start thinking more in a community concept, right? We have various income levels here, right? We have different ethnicities, different religions, but some of the things that we have in common are purposeful, right? And what sometimes happens is people get complacent because maybe they have a good relationship with organizations and people, and so they can get things done on their behalf, right? And so if I'm the person who can get the services, then I'm not necessarily going to be concerned with those who can't, right? Why am I going to mess up my situation looking out for everyone else? That's the wrong attitude. And that's the problem with the inability to build capacity in community. What we're saying is come together with a common objective, plan it, and then execute, right? So why is community capacity building important, right? Because it lets everyone focus on one common idea, one common theme. And we decide what that theme is. It also encourages local people, the people in the community, to take ownership and to feel empowered, right? We like to talk about on a local level, county level, national level, what the government doesn't do. But what we don't do, we don't take that next step forward and say, well, how can we do it, right? And so that's why community capacity building is important, because it allows us to answer that question. Why can't we do it? We won't always be able to do it, but what we need to do is take the steps that allow us to determine whether we can do it or not, right? And so that's what we want to do. So the benefits of community capacity building, right? Encourages people to take action, fosters a sense of ownership, strengthens confidence. That's an important one, right? Because you don't feel victimized, right? You don't feel like you got to wait for someone or something else to allow you to move forward. Talk about strengthening confidence, sensitivity to particularities of local culture and context, right? Everybody's challenges, everybody's struggles, everybody's differences, everybody's opinions have to be incorporated in this, right? Have to be considered in this. Because in the end, we all have to live with the outcome, right? And if we're determining the outcome, then we should be satisfied with what we end up with, right? Because if we're not, we didn't do a good job planning. And it acknowledges the growth plan and change in our community, right? So we don't get to wait. We don't have to wait for other people to tell us what's going to change in our community, because we've made that determination, right? And now we've gone about the business of making it happen. So the outcomes of community capacity building, community learning, you learn about the community, we learn about the people in the community, we learn about the assets that we already have, we learn about the assets that we hope to attain. Expand community assets, right? Get more of what we already have is good. And then bring in those things that we need, or replace those things that we believe are not so good. But again, we make that determination. Build community collaboration, everybody's working together, everybody's input is important. Building the skills and confidence of individuals and groups. Sometimes we don't even know what we're good at until we have to actually be good at it, right? We don't know what we're interested in until we have to be interested in it. And this allows us to make those determinations, figure those things out. Enhance community decision making, right? We make collective decisions and we live collectively with those decisions. So if we're going to do that, that means that we have to be good at what we decide, right? And we have to do what's called our due diligence. We have to look at every aspect of this thing, make sure that it meets our criteria, it meets our objectives, make sure that we can do it in the time that we determine we need to do it in. Most importantly, make sure we can find the money to do it. Then do it. Create a common vision for the future, right? That we all, again, we are all part of this. We all make a determination about what happens. And then we all work on implementation, right? We all take the steps together to get this in, to get this thing done, and to get people actually using it, right? Promotes inclusion and social justice. It's very important, right? The community is not monolithic. It is made up of many parts. All those parts must be considered. And it must be a welcoming environment, right? That's important. You can't feel like your voice is not going to be heard. Can't feel like you're going to be ganged up on. Can't feel like you're going to be disregarded. So the minute those things start to happen, we've already failed. So we have to keep those kind of things in mind, right? The real importance of living in community, right? This is what community living is about. Caring for one another, nurturing the talents and leadership abilities of people in the community, and tackling problems together, right? First acknowledging the problem, right? Admitting that it exists, then determine a way around the problem. And again, then execute, right? It's a really repetitive system of things, right? Basically identify, plan, and execute. Now there are things that happen inside of that, right? You know, time, because we all have other things that we're doing, family, money. But before we can consider any of those things, we have to consider together our direction forward, right? Because you can't ask for money if you don't know what you're going to use it for, right? Grant makers don't want to give you grant money if you can't tell them how you're going to spend it. And then once you tell them how you spend it, then you have to prove that you spent it the way that you said, right? So that's going to be very important. Transparency, right? Make sure people know where the money's coming from and where the money's going. Successful community change requires broad community participation. Everybody's input is important. Everybody's input is welcome. That's the only way that you will create the right community environment, you have to take into account everybody's position in the community. And we have to have people thinking as a community. Can't be a matter of haves and have-nots. It has to be community. It has to be a common objective, a common goal, and then agreement on the steps to achieve that goal. And so, without the capacity, we're just a collection of individuals, right? And we just kind of move through our existence and we let things happen to us. Right? And the things that are good, we acknowledge it. The things that are bad, we acknowledge it. But in either instance, we don't influence it. Right? We don't change it. We have no determination around it, usually. But community capacity changes that. So you're putting the power back in the people who have to live with the outcome. Three pillars of community capacity: commitment, resources, and skill. We have to all agree that this is what we're going to do. Then we have to figure out what we need to do. That's the reason, right? What do we need? How much money do we need? Do we have control of the physical property that we want to affect? Right? Is it a one-time thing and then it goes away, or is it something that we continue to build on? And skill. Who can do what? Right? Do we have the skill in-house? We have to go out and get the skill. We have to pay for the skill. And what provides that skill? Is it a person? Is it a software package? Is it a tool, a machine? Right? So all of those things have to be considered. Right? Just having the enthusiasm to go out and do it, that's beautiful. But if you don't look at it from a realistic perspective and then go out and do the things that need to be done to bring success, then you're really just kind of spinning your wheels, right? And it takes time. It takes time. It's not something you want to rush through. Planning should be the longest phase of your project, because that's the thing that then drives everyone else to produce. If you have a good plan, you have a good product. You have a poor plan, you have a poor product. So, don't be afraid to take the time to plan. And then once you plan whatever it is that you want to do, then you have something to show people. And they can, we can talk about our plans and our desires, but people want to see things on paper. They want to see the steps, right? And they want to see how much it's going to cost. In some instances, folks want to see if they're going to make their money back. Right? And all those things are important. All those things are extremely important. So how do we build community capacity? Involve and educate community members. Help shape opinions and galvanize commitment to act. Now, help shape opinions. That's not meaning that someone tries to manipulate you into thinking the way that they're thinking. It's basically just saying, let's look at this thing from a common perspective, right? You may have your opinion about it, you may have yours, you may have yours. But what is it that's common about all three of those varied opinions, right? And because that's where to start. That's where to start, right? That's the point to start with, the commonality. Then you start working through the discrepancies and try to figure out how to get around those issues. But that's what really helps shape opinion. Let's talk about it, and then let's agree about it, right? So it's not manipulation, right? Involve and educate community members. I mean, get anyone and everyone involved. Ask and invite everyone in the community. Because if you are a part of the community, but you choose not to participate in the community, you can't blame anyone on the outcome. If you are apathetic, then you have said, I'm just going to take whatever comes. And so then you can't complain after something comes that you don't like. Because when the opportunity came for you to influence it, you chose not to participate. Right? So, and then attract and collect resources, right? Compile information, shape ways, right? That's just saying, get other people interested in what it is that we're about to do. Someone, we may need lumber supplies and Home Depot may donate or something like that, but you never know until you have determined what it is you want to do. And then you can articulate that to other people to get their interest. They organize people who work, develop skills, and coordinate or manage sustained effort, right? Once you start, keep it going, right? Get people excited about it. T-shirts, hats, I don't know, whatever. Whatever makes people excited about what it is we're doing, let's do it. And you know, if somebody has an interest in learning something that's a part of this thing that we're doing, give them an opportunity to learn it. Because guess what? The next time you do it, you have the skill set in-house now. You have to go pay somebody to do it because in this project, this person learned how to do it, right? And not only that, maybe that person has just acquired a skill that then they can market and make money. Something like that, right? Because we're not trying to say don't pursue individual success, right? That's always a component of everything that we do. But what we're saying is take the time to look at how these things will impact the community and make the community better. East Cleveland is a proud community, absolutely. And if we don't think it's important what people outside of East Cleveland thinks about us, we aren't paying attention. It is important. It is very important. But if we don't see ourselves that way first, nobody will. Right? You got to believe in your community. You got to believe in the potential of the community and the people in the community. And that's how you move it forward. Because if we can't convince ourselves that our community is worth whatever the effort, then we certainly can't convince anyone else, right? And we can't expect them to then participate. So the traits of a healthy community: optimistic, collaborative, that we're in this together attitude, interdependent, right? We're all dependent on each other, not ourselves, not just ourselves, but in each other. Able to build consensus, solve problems, and see a win-win situation in everything that we're doing. Right? Consensus, everybody comes to an agreement. Right? Everybody in consensus building may not be happy with the agreement, but you have agreed that this is the way we all must move forward. Right? And then maybe next time, you know, your decision carries more weight, but you can't take anything personally when you're talking about community capacity building, because nothing's personal. Right? It's all about the community. That fourth to last word, empower, critical, right? Because that's the attitude that makes us feel invincible, right? That makes us not feel victimized. Focus on the future, right? It's not just about sustaining what we already have. That's necessary, right? You got to maintain the quality of life, but you always have to keep forward-facing in your thought, right? You always have to see what the emerging trends are. You want to bring businesses into the community. What kind of businesses does the community need? You want to increase the tax base. What kind of jobs are high paying that pay higher taxes that bring to the community? All those things, right? But when you're empowered, then you don't just look at them, you feel like you can do something about it. And so when you focus on the future as an empowered person, then you really see it as possible. So we can do it attitude, right? And then the traits of an unhealthy community, cynicism. You know, every time you suggest something, somebody's got something negative to say about it. They don't have anything better to offer, but they certainly have something bad to say about what you're trying to do. Focus on the business, right? The haves want to stay the have. The haves want to keep the have-nots. The have-nots. You can't move forward if that's the way people are thinking. Polarize, right? We're over here. The whole concept, including of up the hill, down the hill, right? That's a polarizing mechanism in our community. We have to recognize that. Narrow interest. Again, I'm only concerned with what I'm doing or how this affects me. If there's no value to me, there's no effort from me. Right? Mean-spirited, only sees the win lose, apathetic, selfish, attacking, dividing, power hoarding, and gridlock. Those last two, I mean, they kind of go hand in hand, because if you're power hoarding, then you're going to create the gridlock. Because you're not going to move anything forward if it doesn't meet your objectives, right? Your standards or benefit you in some kind of way. So I'm going to stop right here, and then when I come back, we're going to talk about how to actually go about doing it. But what I want to do now, first, I want to bring up Pat De Leon to talk about SCORE and to talk about the new partnership. So just to give you a quick overview, the Student Growth Association in the city and has partnered to provide mentoring, business mentoring services to people in the community. And so what we hope is to foster a spirit of entrepreneurship and to bring new business ideas and concepts into the community. So with that, I'll turn it over to Pat.
First, I must say, before anything else, this didn't happen by accident. A much higher power, whom I will call God, had everything to do with us being here today, including me and even her. All of us in this room. SCORE is a good organization. Been around for a long time. Helped a lot of people. But you know what else it is? It's about reaching out in ways you would never think. Some of the ladies in here are my clients. And we didn't even know each other before we knew each other. I was working on a job downtown at City Hall, Department of Economic Development. See that lady there, the one that just took her mask off? That's Pat Long. She's my namesake. Called the office looking for help, all right? Because she was getting this work started, this business, actually this ministry, all the rest. I happened to answer the phone. Me now, I answer. I'm on the job doing something else. She's saying she needs this need or has this need. I'm a SCORE mentor. I say to her, wait, hold up. We're going to stop all this right now. You call SCORE and tell them you need this assistance and have them refer you to me. The rest, as they say, is history. This happened back when? Last year sometime? Yes. And we've been working together ever since. And I'm so proud to introduce Sister Long and Grace Ministries, who are in the house. And I helped them get some stuff going. In fact, I invited them today for this purpose, Sean, so that they could meet that lady right there, because they need some funding and some help in order to get a project going. This is what SCORE does, or at least that I'm allowed to do as a result of SCORE, okay? All the mentors do things differently. I do how God chooses me or sends me to do. How I even happen to be with these two over here, and that lady back there, is through a means that I don't even know, but some kind of way they met somebody through another source, referred them to SCORE. SCORE appointed me. In fact, there was somebody else they were thinking of to do this that I'm doing now. But all that changed in an instant of an eye. And I was chosen and asked if I would partner with them to do, not that, but the other thing. We're gonna do healthy. We're gonna do healthy community. We're gonna do healthy service. We're gonna work together in partnership. They have a number and an email address that you could call and get information about and get referrals. You could get a mentor, somebody like me, to work with you on a one-on-one basis or however way it's done, to get the assistance that you need with your business. Let's see, we do just so many things. I can't even think of it all. But the one thing we do more than anything is that we're there for you. You have an idea, you want to go forward with it, we help you with that. And through the means of working with this group here, it allows that to happen. We're talking about community and getting capacity building and doing all these wonderful things that Sean just talked about. How are we going to do that? Unless we do it as a unified front, unless we do it as a team, if you will, okay? Because all of us in here, as I see it, we are a team. And by the way, Sean said something that's very important, at least to me, because people outside of East Cleveland see this city very differently. These ladies that are here representing Grace Ministries, they don't live here. Where y'all live, Pat?
Southside.
Thank you. They thought it not robbery to come from the southeast side to East Cleveland to hear what you all got to say. They thought it not robbery, just one invitation. I didn't even have to beg or beseech or anything. I asked if they would come. They came for several purposes, but I'm so glad they did, because now they get to see what East Cleveland can do. And I'm so proud of this organization. I really and truly am. But in either case, as I said, SCORE providing the services that we do. We've been doing it for a long time. We link you with all kind of resources in the city, things that you want to do. How you want to get a business started, because a lot of times people don't even know the first thing of what to do. So I have me in particular and other mentors like myself. We have a whole list. You know, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and all that, and where you go from there. So, I don't know, that's it, that's all I got. But I'm just glad you're here, and I applaud you. I really do, that you're gonna be wonderful business persons and entrepreneurs, and God bless.
And I just realized that I didn't even introduce myself or our group to you guys when we started, right? So we're the East Cleveland Growth Association.
Oh, yeah.
We've been around for about 4 years,
Right.
right? And I'm Sean Ward, I'm the founder and CEO. That is Curtis Scruggs over there, the CEO and the COO. This is Corinne Gazelle. She's one of our board members, and she helps us out, and she focuses on any retail-related projects that we're trying to do. Our other board member, Greg Pickett, is in here. He handles the commercial stuff that we're trying to do. And back in the back is our board chair, my wife, Jen. So right now, I'm going to bring up Curtis Scruggs to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you. As Sean said, my name is Curtis Scruggs, and I'm the COO and CFO of the East Cleveland Growth Association. We like those three-letter terms. Sean talked about capacity building and what it is and what it is not. Okay. Capacity starts with human, starts with each and every one of us. Our greatest capacity is ourselves. And what do we bring to a project? What do we bring to a project? Think about that for a second. What do you bring to a project? You are a collection of thoughts, information, and ideas. And we take those thoughts, we take that information, we take those ideas, and we transfer them into action. And how we transfer them into actions is by getting up and moving. Again, we think about community. Community. Not how does this affect me? Or how does this affect mine? But how does this affect us? How does it affect us? That's where we're going with this. Another part of capacity, a very important part of capacity, is finance. Because we all know in order to do what we want to do, it takes money. There's nothing we can do if we broke. You know? So when we decided to do this, I said, sure, we got to have somebody here to talk about money. And he said, you know, Curtis, you're right. And so I immediately reached out to the person that I feel is best suited to talk about money. Okay? Many of you know her, some of you don't. But I bring to the floor Ms. Cynthia Lewis, the grants manager for Neighborhood Connection, Neighbor Up. Cynthia?
Thank you for inviting me. When Curtis invited me to speak here today, I didn't really ask any questions. You know, I just said, okay. Then I got to thinking, I got to make up a speech now. I got to prepare a speech. So it wasn't until I actually walked in here and seen you all, and then heard what was going on. I thought, oh, you can do this. This makes perfect sense. So thank you again for inviting me. Can I just see a show of hands of people who are familiar with neighborhood connection? Oh, not a lot. Oh, that means we gotta get the word out. You gotta spread the word out. Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about neighborhood connections. Neighborhood Connections is a small grants program that awards grants to residents in Cleveland neighborhoods and the city of East Cleveland. When we first started out, we just did the neighborhoods of Cleveland. And there was such an outcry from East Cleveland being, one of, right in the middle there, that it was really hard to ignore, the cries from the residents of East Cleveland. So I think of maybe about 10 years into the program, we took on East Cleveland as funding some of the projects in the neighborhood. So how do you get funding? We award grants to resident-led projects. And what that involves is it takes 3 residents living in one community to come together to address an idea or, a project of sorts. We don't do awarding for suburbs. Okay, I'm from King Heights. I can't get an award. That's what I want to do, but I love reaching out to the community, and I love talking about my program. And Pat, as a matter of fact, was one of our grant making committee members who served on the board, to help award some of the projects for the applications that we received.
And I was also a grantee.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we gave out some money.
Thank you again.
You're welcome. So it's all about collaboration, capacity building, all of that stuff. It takes the community to do it. It takes you to come up with something you want to do to improve the living conditions in East Cleveland, okay? To make it, Make it nice. Okay. So what do you have to do? Well, you look around. Look and see what is it that you need. You know, talk to some people. Talk to the residents. Get them to buy in on your idea. If you can come up with 3, you want to put something together, do it. You don't have to have been a group for, years or months. You can start right now. You can start with what you have to do. So it just takes 3 residents in the neighborhood to get together to address an idea. That's all it is. So, Sean talked about a plan. I always have a favorite saying that I use. Proper planning prevents poor performance. And it's true. So you get together, you talk about it. Can't happen overnight, The planning stage, it is one of the most important stages. Takes a lot of work. So you have to build a timeline. That's the first thing that you have to come together on is building the timeline. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? When are you going to start it? And when is it going to be finished? That's your timeline. Baking a cake. You need the ingredients. The ingredients are people. Okay? We just had a deadline for funding in August. Our next round of funding takes place in February. Always the second Friday in February. So, for those of you who have pen and paper, I'm going to give you some contact information for me. I normally bring my business cards, but the business cards are outdated because we are moving. Right now, we're located in the Aurora building, the historic Aurora building, downtown on East 55th off Beauty. Okay. We are moving in a space that will be occupied by the Cleveland Foundation. The Cleveland Foundation is one of our biggest funders. They're the ones that support us, and they're also the ones that help to implement the program of Neighborhood Connections. Neighborhood Connections has been around since 2001. I was the first employee, and I'm still there. The program was only supposed to last 4 years, but I was determined. I was not going to be looking for another job. I was tired. I wanted something permanent. So my contact information, first of all, again, my name is Cynthia. That's with a C, Ynthia. Lewis is my last name, Lewis. My phone number is 216-229-4688. My email address is clewis@neighborhoodgrants, that's with an S at the end, grants.org. clewis@neighborhoodgrants.org. Now, if you need to call, please know what you want to say.
Don't be for long methods. Don't be for long methods. You keep those out, don't be for long methods.
My answer machine automatically disconnects. Know what you want to say. What's the first thing that I asked you to do when you leave that message?
Your name, who you are.
And your phone number. The message should be short because I can get the details when I call you back. I get over 50 voicemail messages per day, and even twice as many emails. If you call me, do not email me. If you email me, do not call me. I'm real good at callbacks, so I'll get back to you right away. You want me to leave my phone number? Yeah. Okay. 216-229-4688. 4688. So with regard to the funding, well, what do we fund? What do we give money away for? We give money away for just about everything. The grant making committee are suckers for kids and kids programs. Anything having to do with literacy, or reading, capacity building, collaboration. We give from $500 to $5,000. Okay? You can't ask for less than 500. You can't ask for more than 5,000. We fund transportation to get you from point A to point B. That does not mean that we will buy you a car. We get requests, to buy people cars. I want a car. We do not fund. It's easier to tell you what we do not fund than what we do fund. We do not fund payment for vehicles. We do not fund campaigns because you want to support some politician. We do not give monies for utilities to run a business. We do not give monies for startup business. We don't give money for renovation, okay, or capital projects. You want new windows on your home. You want, no, we don't do that. But yeah, we do fund just about everything. We've even funded chicken coops. When Neighborhood Connections first started, the very first round, we got 28 applications. We get well over 28 applications now. On average, I get anywhere from 150 to maybe 200 applications, and I read them all. I can tell them people are BSing, You can't tell me you want $5,000 and $400 of it is going to go toward transportation and setting up a hotel room for 30 boys for 2 nights and feed them to $400. Oh, I'm gonna call you because I want you to tell me how you gonna do this. But I already know you're not gonna get funded. Luckily for a lot of people, I don't get involved in the decision-making process. There'd be a whole lot of applications that I would put them in the circular file, the trash can. But we get some really, really good ideas. And I'm really happy and excited when I read the applications and what the people want to do makes sense. Okay. But they say if it doesn't make dollars, it don't make sense. So, again, our next deadline is going to be in February. It'll be the second Friday. Send you the website address for the application. Neighbor, repeat, neighbor, please, If you just start typing that in a browser window, you type neighbor please is gonna come up. Okay? It'll take you to our homepage. There's two ways to apply. You can apply by way of paper, or you can apply online. I strongly encourage you to apply online. When you apply on paper, you miss out on a lot of opportunity. Okay? Applying online, any grant-making committee member from any location can review your application. Okay? Sometimes when you apply on paper, the application gets lost. I've had residents that bring an application into the office. They swear they brought it in. And I tell them, if you're gonna bring anything for me, don't give it to somebody else. Because if I don't get it, I'll never know that it was brought in. If you want to bring anything into me, sit it in my chair. I'm sure.
So we start now, filling out the application, deadline is Friday, February.
Yes, the deadline is the second Friday in February. Here's what you can do. When you go to the website, I closed the portal, so you cannot fill out an application online and do the next deadline. But what you can do is you can download the Word application. At least if you download the Word application, you'll be able to look at it and know what it is that you're going to need prior to the deadline. So I'll tell you some things that you're going to need. You're going to need an idea that makes sense. Let's start there. Okay. You're going to need a fiscal, that's FISCAL. You're going to need a fiscal agent if you do not have a 501c3 or you're not part of the nonprofit organization. Now, that does not mean that you need to have a 501c3 in order to get a grant. I didn't say that. See, somebody gonna think I said that. You just have to partner with someone that does. Well, who has those credentials? The library has those credentials. We funded these through the library several times. Yeah. Community development corporations have those credentials. Churches have those credentials. But you have to be very careful. When you ask someone to serve as your fiscal agent, they cannot charge you a fee. Neighborhood Connections prohibits that. If you ask for $5,000 and you only get awarded $3,000, and then you have the fiscal agent that wants a little piece of your cheddar, you're not going to be able to do your project. The grant making committee may not fully fund you, but they try to at least fund you enough money for you to get your project done. Okay. So you may not get all the bells and whistles, but they will fund you enough to get the project done. You will need support letters. Start talking about your project. Tell people what it is you're doing. Have them to write a letter on their letterhead with a current date and a signature. So you need at least 1 or 2 support letters. Like Sean was saying, donation. Is there anybody maybe willing to donate something to you? Donate some t-shirts to you or donate some food for your project. Because when you ask for money from Neighborhood Connection, let's say you ask for $500, you just need some food for maybe a block party. You have to be able to match dollar for dollar. You don't have $500, so how are you gonna match $500? Easy. You match it with donated goods, because donated goods have a value. Whatever that value is, that is part of your match. You can match it with volunteer services. We give you a formula on the application, number of hours times the dollar amount times the number of volunteers. That is a match. You can match it with, let's say, someone is donating space to you for your project. Find out if they had to rent that out, how much would they charge for it? You can use that as part of your match. So it's real easy. And if you run out of things and you run out of ideas, you can always call me or email me, and I'll be more than happy to help you or answer any questions you may have. Any more questions? Thank you all, and thank you for your time.
That information is excellent. I like, as she didn't know what we were going to do and what we were going to talk about, I didn't know either. And I'll tell you, that was so on point, so timely for our event today. Excellent presentations by both of our speakers. So at this point, we are going to take a break and get some food. And before we get up to eat, though, I'm going to ask Reverend Pat to say a blessing for everyone.
Oh, Father, in the name of Jesus, call out your name in thanksgiving for this time that we are allowed to join together. I bless now these proceedings in your name as we go forward. Also, I bless this food in your name, oh God, to the nourishment of our bodies. And I thank you, Lord. I thank you for yet another day that you have made. And we've come even in this setting to rejoice and be glad in it. I thank you, Lord God, that these people thought it not robbery to come from wherever they came from to join in this effort. I thank you for the speakers, including myself. I thank you for ECGA. I thank you for the board members and the leadership and for the work that will come out of this effort today as we go forward. I bless now in the name of Jesus. People of God say, amen and amen.
All right, and I'd like to also give credit what credit is due. So I'd like to thank the ladies from All About You Catering for serving. Big
Bravo.
And absolutely. I want to acknowledge one of the people that are responsible for this beautiful space and all of the great things that are happening in the library. I want to present to you Zaki. I want to mispronounce his last name. Zaki Rashid, who is the president of the East Cleveland Library Board. They have been great partners with us, with ECGA, and allowing us to use their space. And, we've got some other things going on. Before we eat, I'll just say real quickly that we announced last Sunday at a live event that the library was having. The East Cleveland Growth Association is actually partnering with Ms. Shirley Fitzpatrick back there and a group that is called the Friends of the East Cleveland Theater. And we have started the process of renovating the East Cleveland Community Theater right across the street. So we are at the very point that we're talking to you about, right? We're at the funding stage. Right now, we're putting the plan together. We have an architect, we have a general contractor. We're gonna take our time, put a plan together, right? Then we're gonna go after the money, and then we're gonna execute our plan. But we're also gonna videotape it, right? So you guys get to go through it with us, and you get to see what's going on every step of the way. As I said, we believe in transparency, and we want you on this journey. This is a community capacity building project, right? We're gonna invite the community into this project with us, right? The core group that we have right now, that's just to get us started. But when we get going, we're gonna need everybody, right? So everybody go back, help yourself, get you some food, and then we'll continue from there.
Can I make this one point?
Absolutely.
If anybody's interested in the project or the theater, can you just give me your name and phone number? Like Sean said, we want to keep you in the loop. Hopefully before the end of October, we're gonna have a cleanup of the theater. So we want as many people as possible to start seeing what we're doing, to be excited about it, and be part of the community that sort of bring the theater back. Thank you.
Let's just put us all together. I just want you all to know, she is the person that brought all these entities together that are gonna go about the business of restoring the theaters. Miss Fitz, and I know she's a lot of things to a lot of people, Miss Shirley, but I've been knowing her for many years, and she's always been Miss Fitz to me. I love her to death, and she is one of East Cleveland's greatest assets, and we love and appreciate her. So I just can't say enough about Miss Fitz. But anyway, with that, everybody enjoy the meal.
I'm on.
All right, so that's the second question. Third question coming up. Typically, we build on the positive things in our community rather than focusing on what's wrong. Let me see the hands of people who think that's true. Let me see the hands of people who think that's false. That's the first unanimous. Next question. People in our community recognize the value of supporting local business. Let me see hands of people who believe that to be true. Let me see the hands of people who believe that to be false. All right. Next question. The community is supportive of entrepreneurship. Let me see the hands of people who believe that's true. Let me see the hands of people who believe that's false. Almost unanimous. Next question. The community understands the limitations and opportunities that allow or prevent our community from moving forward. I'll read that again. The community understands the limitations and opportunities that allow or prevent our community from moving forward. Let me see the hands of people who believe that to be true. Let me see the hands of people who believe that to be false. Very good. Next question. In our community, we see ourselves as part of a greater region that should be considered in our plan. All right, so what we're saying here is we see ourselves as part of the larger community, and when we plan, we should consider what we're doing in consideration with the larger community we believe we're a part of, right? So let's say, for instance, if we do something, do we think about its benefit, for instance, to the Collins neighborhood, to University Circle, or do we just look at it for the benefit of each fleet? So that's what that question is saying. So I'll read it again. In our community, we see ourselves as part of a greater region that should be considered in our planning. Let me see the hands of people who believe that's true. Let me see the hands of people who believe that's false. Right. It probably should be true if it's not. Now, these next questions, they're multiple choice, right? So I'm going to ask you to raise your hand based on which question. First question, how do you get your news and information? Let me see the hands of people who get from TV and radio. Mm-hmm. Let me see the people who get it from newspaper and magazine. Let me see the hands of people who get it from online internet. Off the street. That's online internet. How do you prefer to contact people? How do you prefer to contact people? Let me see people who prefer to contact people by phone. Let me see the people who prefer text message. Let me see the people who prefer to get email. And let me see the hands of people who prefer in person. Very good. And the last question, how do you prefer people to contact you? Right? How do you prefer people to contact you? Let me see the hands of people who prefer that people contact you by phone. Let me see the hands of people who like to be contacted by text message. Let me see the hands of people who like to be contacted through email. And then let me see the hands of people who like to be contacted in person. Very good. So you know, the one thing that we can gather from this is we all like to use all the means of communication that are available to us. But I think the other thing that we can determine is that we don't really have confidence right now in our community as a community. Right? We all live in East Cleveland, or those who live in East Cleveland, those who live in the communities you live in, those are your communities. But based on our responses, what we're saying is we don't really have confidence in the community. And let me just show you something real quick, if I may. So there were a few people that responded to the survey online, and I'll just give you an idea of what other people thought. So you see on the first question around pride in the community showing up, it was split. There are 8 people that responded. Half of them believe that pride in the community shows up. The other half believe it does. Next question around residents in our community having a chance to participate in decision making. Again, in responses, 5 people believe that that's not true. 3 people believe it to be true. Building on the positive in our community rather than focusing on the wrong. Again, 5 people believe that that was not true. 3 people believe that it was true. All right, now the question about people recognizing value and supporting local businesses. In this instance, it was reversed, right? 5 people believe it to be true, and only 3 people believe it to not be true. Same with the community being supportive of entrepreneurship, right? 5 people say yes, 3 people say no. And then when we get to the question about understanding limitations and opportunities, again, we're split right down the middle. 4 people say true, 4 people say false. And then we have the question around whether or not we see ourselves as part of the greater region that should be considered in our planning. 5 people say yes, 3 people say no, or flex, right? And so now with the multiple choice question. So how do you prefer to contact people? 3 people by phone, 1 person by text, 4 people by email, but nobody selected in person. And how do you prefer to be contacted? Again, 2 people phone, 3 people text, 3 people email, but nobody in person. And then finally, the last question, how do you get your news and information? TV and radio got 3, online internet got 5, but nobody selected news, paper, and magazine. So you know that now that tells me one thing too, right? It tells me that we have to find multiple ways of communicating with people so that we catch everyone, right? Because there is no one catch-all that's going to get us to everybody. Now, so what do you think about that, direct mail? Let me see the hands of people who prefer to get direct mail. And, you know, somebody send you a letter mailbox. Let me see the hands of people who prefer direct mail. Let me see the hands of people who do not like to get mail, who prefer not to have to read mail. So kind of, again, you know, kind of goes both ways. You have to be flexible. You have to be flexible in order to get to everybody. Now, you know, I know we were scheduled to go to 3, but you know, we are not, you know, married to that timeline. You know, when we get the information covered, then that's when we're done. So, but now here's the last part of what we want to talk about, right? And this is the part where we have more discussion, right? The first part, I was kind of talking to you about things, giving you some concepts, and just trying to give you a basic understanding of what it is that we're trying to discuss and trying to get people to think about. We're going to talk about how do we get started. First thing you have to do is form a group. And as we heard from Cynthia, for their purposes, the group can be as small as 3. So you have to form a group. And again, not a formal group, right? You don't have to give yourself a name and you don't have to register with the state or anything like that, right? You have to form a group. Then you have to pick priority. As a group, you then determine what it is that this group is coming together to accomplish. Right? The next thing you want to do is organize into subgroups or committees, right? Because you got to have a core group, right? There's got to be a decision-making group. But that group can't do everything. So you may determine that you need subgroups and committees. Like with this theater project that we're working, there's no way that the group of individuals that make up the Friends of can do the whole work. So we're going to be calling out to people in the community to help. We're also going to be hiring professionals to do that work where it warrants. But the bottom line is we have to break ourselves up into smaller groups to meet our objective. And that's what this is saying. Organize into subgroups and committees. Identify sources. Right? Sources for what? Sources for funding. Sources for supplies and materials. Who has the knowledge that we need? And identify resources. Those are the actual things, right? Do we need wood? Do we need construction people? Do we need permits? Do we need money? Right? All those things are resources. Create a timeline. And Cynthia was talking about when she was up here, right? Everything, a project, right, is defined as, believe it or not, a set of steps that has a finite end and a finite start, right? It does not go on forever. Now, the duration, who cares, right? The duration is whatever you deem the duration to be, but it has to start and it has to finish. And at the end, something has to happen. Something has to have been changed. Something has to have been created. Something, a measurable outcome has to have taken place. And then people may not think much about number 7, but number 7, consider publicity opportunities. Consider getting other people interested in your project. Think about a press release. Think about, if you got a friend that's on the news, think about asking them to ask somebody to come out and take some pictures. Social media. We post heavily on social media. We're having this meeting. Right now, actually, as a matter of fact, this session is streaming on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. All just from that one device back there. But we're on all those channels.
Millions of viewers watch y'all eat.
No, actually they did, because I turned the camera off. No, I turned the camera off while y'all eat. But I know that people are seeing us because somebody's texted me and said they enjoyed the presentation, right? So that's our opportunity, right? So that the next time we do this, you all are going to be our publicity opportunity. Because if you enjoyed this session, you're going to tell somebody, hey, they're doing that again, you should come. And if you didn't like it, We still can get publicity, it's not gonna be good. That's right, because somebody may say, I want to see for myself, right? They still may come, right? So, that's important. So now, let me just kind of open it up. And there are a couple things I want to know, right? First, generally, if you have a question, please feel free to ask it. But what I also want to know is, what kind of projects do you think we can accomplish as a community in the city? And when you think about that, think about it from the perspective of your street or your neighborhood. But what's going on in your part of town that you think can be addressed through community capacity building and planning? Anybody?
And let me preface that by saying, nobody is here to bash any government entity in the city of East Cleveland. Let's not do it. We are not talking about that. We have our opportunities to change that on November 8th. So again, we are talking about community capacity building, things that we as a community can do, not things that you think should be done or things that are not being done or whatever. This is not that.
Okay. And let me just say this, that's an excellent point, Curtis. And let me say this, the power that you have isn't, is greater than you think, right? Because we're not talking about just community gardens and stuff like that. Those things are important too, as beautification, right? Bureau projects and stuff like that, even cleanup. But I'm saying to you that you can get your street repaired. I'm saying you can get trees cut down. I'm saying you can get your front porch or your roof fixed. I'm saying that you can get street lights on your street.
Get abandoned houses demolished.
Yeah.
You all, as a collective entity, are powerful. And as Cynthia said, if you have a good plan, people will consider your plan. They'll consider funding it. If you don't, people who spend their careers granting funds know what's real and what's fraudulent. And I'll tell you another thing, right? Reputation is critical. You may get over on a funder once, but not only will you not get over on that funder again, you probably won't get any other funds because they're going to tell.
Right?
We got the $5,000. I was able to have block party, I guess, enough folks for everybody on the street. And we got a lot of work, we got all kinds of cleanup projects, cleanup equipment, cleanup our street. And we also got a snowboard. Well,
Now, what street are you on?
the 1900 block of Hayes.
See? Right here. Right here. And I've been knowing her since I was a little boy. She's a super lady, but she's regular just like us. Right? She's regular just like us. And I've known her sister forever too. That's Lisa. And I always like to tell this story, right? Because I used to stay up all night when I was a little boy to watch the Jerry Lewis telethon because Lisa was going to be on it. So I did that for maybe 5-6 years. So, and I haven't seen Lisa since I was a little boy, so I'm really happy for her. Really happy. She was one of my best friends when I was little. So, all right, so anybody else, right? Any other stories? Good stories, horror stories, anything? Questions, comments? All right. I will make all this available, and it'll be available online. If I've got your email address, I'll send it to you, and then I'll leave some copies in the library so that people can pick them up. And I appreciate that question. You know why? Because it says that I said something to you all that you found of interest. So, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the site. You can.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up, yeah, it's also gonna be on the website, so it's a video, right? So you'll be able to download it from the website. And we'll also put all the other stuff on here that we talked about, like, I'll put Cynthia's contact information online. I will also put the link to the score page online. Now, our next session,
growth.org.
yeah, EC Growth, the website.
www.ecgrowth, lowercase, ecgrowth.org.
And this will be publicized too, but, when we open up the score email, well, actually, these things are active now, most of them advertised. It's score mentoring, SCOREMENTORING at ecgrowth.org. And the score mentoring phone number is 216-208-9720. Now, the next meeting, we're going to focus more on the SCORE partnership and entrepreneurship. So, and let me just say one other thing, right? As Cynthia was talking about the sources for fiscal aid, we can be your fiscal aid, right? And even if you could charge a fee, we would, right? We want to see success. So if you organize and you have a plan, we will sponsor. And we will do whatever we need to do to make sure that you get the money.
And do the project.
And please do the project. Because our reputation is on the line too, right? If we look bad, we won't look at you again. Because it's important. Credibility, integrity, transparency, those things are critical, right? We've got to change the way that people see East Cleveland. And it starts with us. So if we aren't going to do the right thing, then we cannot expect that anyone else will. Yes.
Are you just looking for, are you in any way looking for ideas or new projects to perhaps?
Absolutely.
Well, I was wondering if something like, because our youth are lost.
Yes.
And no, all of you, there's nowhere for kids to go, interact with each other, and to be mentored at the same time. Because a long time ago, the POC and other places like that, where kids could go, they were taught how to play the piano, they were taught about sports, they had different activities for all ages. But our youth today are out there doing what they want to do with no guidance or anything else. And that helps to bring down the community because a lot of times what they do is disrupt it.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you all search at any time something in that nature.
So let me speak to that directly, right? One of the components of the theater project will have a music and theater instruction component, right?
Mhm.
So kids that want to learn how to play instruments, kids that want to learn how to act, things like that, right? Those things will happen. And we hopefully will be putting on local productions as well as national productions in that facility, right? So that's one thing. The other thing we're doing is looking at esports. I don't know if you all know what esports is, but esports is gaming. Video game and stuff, right? It is an emerging trend. You know that colleges give scholarships for e-gaming. People can win up to millions of dollars in esport tournaments.
Ohio State University. The Ohio State University just spent $70 million on an esports facility. $70 million. They just built it's a brand new state-of-the-art esports facility. And they have competitions.
And did you know that your library has an esports team?
No.
The library has an esports team, and in fact, we had a meeting with them last week to talk about building a esports room in this current facility, and also looking at the future and putting esports some new construction somewhere. Personally, we want the Civic Center, right? That was the first project we tried to do, right? We wanted the Civic Center because we had an amazing plan for the Civic Center. And if the library doesn't build an esports complex, we wanted to convert the Civic Center to an esports complex.
And I just want to add one thing. Years ago, we were complaining about our kids being on video games. Now it's an opportunity where this is where they are. Might as well take advantage of it and put some good use to it. So I think it's a brilliant idea.
You have to meet the youth where they are, not where you want to be. The biggest mistake that we can make with kids is preparing them for the world that we live in. Because that's not going to exist when they get here, right?
I used to be critical thinking, 10 years, 15 years down the road, what's going to be happening in terms of jobs that are available. Because they're not now, they don't exist right now.
So young lady, they'll answer the part of your question.
Speaking to scholarships and a category I think that a lot of young people don't think about. I run a program called How to Be a Girl, which I've been doing for about 12 years. And one of the components is teaching about not only entrepreneurship, but how to most concentrate on getting scholarships to go on to college. And unfortunately, young women of color typically go, oh, basketball, I can get a scholarship. No, try volleyball, try cricket, try anything that's not.
So,
Yeah.
If you don't know, Jim Brown's first sport was lacrosse, not football. It was lacrosse.
I didn't do that.
So, and you know, people like in my real life, in my daily life, I'm an IT guy for a company, right? And I manage two teams here in the United States and one team in Bangalore. And then when I finish that job, I do the ECGA stuff, right?
Testify to that. Very little time for me.
That's another class.
Other board member, Greg Pickett, he's the commercial real estate guy. And we already told you, Corinne, she's the residential real estate woman.
A house lady.
But she also has an alternate career. You guys missed the wave. Listen to Jazzy 24.7. This is 27.com. Jazzy247.com. This is Carmen Kennedy from the wave, y'all.
Yes, yeah.
So see, Cynthia is a woman of many talents. See, so now, and Reverend Pat is the Reverend. So you can put aside some of those things to accomplish other things. I want to also acknowledge, and forgive me, I would be remiss in doing so. I want to acknowledge Council President Nate Martin. He's been to a couple of our events, and we really appreciate the support. We appreciate it every time we see him. So thank you, Council President Martin. All right, so that's really about it, right? That is kind of what we wanted to talk to you guys about. Yes.
I was late earlier, so I may have missed it. We have to be the resident of Cleveland.
No. We welcome anybody's participation, right? Because we want East Cleveland to be a welcoming community, right? We want people to know that if they come here, that they'll be welcome here. But, and we'll talk about this in one of the sessions too. If you come here, then you have to live. It's like a what are those condo communities and stuff like that? We have to set the standards for how we want to live in East Cleveland and for how we expect people who want to live in East Cleveland to behave. Right? But we have to define that too ourselves. Did you know that there was a handbook that was written in, I believe, 1964, 56, that lays out step by step how you are to behave to be a good citizen in East Cleveland. I got it in my heart. And I'll share some stuff with you guys as we continue through this. And that's the attitude we need to have. So remember, the whole point of this meeting was to give you all the foundation on community capacity building. As we move forward, we're going to actually find a project, plan it, and execute. Now, we can make one up and take it from start to finish, because that's what I do for a living. Or we can do a real project. I would much prefer a real project. And I mean really going after real money. And at the end of the project, saying, look at what we did. As a community.
And would it be submitted for a grant?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. See,
Like February,
but no, listen, that's just one grant source. That's one grant source. We as a 501c3 have access to federal dollars, to foundation dollars. So all you have to do is have a good plan, and we'll present it to the people with the money.
okay. So that's something we can start doing now.
That's what I'd like you all to start doing now, because when we get back together in 2 months, right back here, then I want us to start throwing out some ideas.
Okay.
We, next time, be the community capacity planning team.
All right.
We'll pick a neighborhood, we'll pick a project, and we'll execute it. Doesn't even have to be your neighborhood. It just has to be a place that has a need. But think about this though, if it is not your neighborhood, we still need to get the buy-in from those people in that neighborhood. They need to be included, their voices need to be heard, and all that good stuff. Okay?
Sounds good.
And we'll meet the February 9th deadline.
Thank you.
We'll meet that deadline.
All right, so any questions, comments before we close?
Anybody else want to sign up for the theater cleanup? Okay, right here.
Any other PCGA board members want to say anything before we close? You?
No, sir, I would just like to say.
Which he didn't want to say.
I just appreciate everybody coming. This is by far our best crowd for our lunch and learns. We appreciate you helping us do what we do. Thank you.
So we have been in existence since 2018. We used to have, and we had a monthly meeting before the pandemic, but that meeting was usually at the Salvation Army. Once the pandemic closed it, we moved up here, primarily because Carlos Latimer, the executive director, is our classmate. We all went to Shaw together, right? And so we wanted to support him and the things they're doing here, so we moved our meetings here. And so we'll be here every other month. And so we're on the lunch and learn, and there'll always be lunch and learn, we'll teach you every time. But right now we're on the capacity building track, so that'll probably be the next 3 or 4 sessions, right? And then we'll figure out what else we want to do, right? And part of that'll come from you. Like, you tell me what kind of stuff you want to learn, what kind of things you want to be able to do. Like I said, I'm a project manager by trade, so we will manage these projects. I've got all the tools we need for proper project management, right? And they're all cloud-based, so you can get to them from wherever you are in the world. And we'll come together and we'll do something fantastic. Yes.
Like some people say, next time when you come, bring a friend.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you really enjoyed this session, please tell people. And I just, oh, go ahead.
Yes, I'm really excited about what I'm hearing. And do you have the ability to disseminate information from like civic organizations on your website?
Mhm.
Okay.
I maintain our website. I built the pages. So if y'all want something on our website, let me know and I'll put it there.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I'm with East Cleveland Bridges and Post Drug Free Coalition.
Oh yeah, Greg Hale is one of our partners.
Yeah.
And he's also my classmate. I'm glad you know. Greg is one of our partners on the library,
Here, too.
right, so Principal Hope is a great organization, great program, right? So very welcome, definitely going to work with you guys.
Yeah, our team summit is gonna be October 8th at Shaw High School. So I send you a flyer.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Parent workshop, and the town hall is going to be on vacant.
I participated last year in this great program. Happy to come again.
All right, so, again, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. You know, as Curtis said, it's our best meeting. I really worried about whether or not it turned out. I knew we had some important information to cover, and I'm just so glad that you all were here today to receive it. Thank you very much. And I did promise that I would announce that upstairs, there is a meeting of concerned citizens in East Cleveland, and they're up there just kind of voicing their concern for the city. It's an open mic, I believe, so if you have something to say, have something to contribute, feel free to go upstairs to the main level and participate in that meeting. I hope you enjoyed the message. I hope you enjoyed the meal. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope more than anything that I see you in 2 months. Thank you very much.
I love you, papers, have cards back here. Thank you.